So for example, while United States does not consider it to be a religious state, but if you were to ask what is the dominant religion in the United States, it would be Christianity. Others are minorities. You will say, well, the dominant religion in this country is Christianity. Or other countries, for example, if you were to look at India, so what is the prominent religion over there, or a doctrine that is followed? So Hinduism, right? There are about 10-15% Muslims there, but majority are Muslim, non-Muslims, so that would be the dominant. That dominance hasn't happened in the world yet when it comes to Islam. Islam has not become that dominant religion. So meaning what? That is a prophecy which is still to be fulfilled by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And hence the concept of what? The concept of the Imam of our time, Imam Mahdi,
Allahumma salli ala.
What I wanted to discuss in the next 15 minutes that I have, you had a lot of discussions on Imam Zaman. But there are certain beliefs that we have developed over the years because of lack of explanation and understanding, that we believe that these are true facts about Imam Zaman. So I wanted to mention here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 aqaid that we have about Imam Zaman that might be wrong and false beliefs that we may hold. And we may think that this is true. Number 1, in the time of the appearance of Imam, modern weapons will become useless and Imam will overcome the enemy with the sword. So when Imam comes back, he will have Dhul Fiqar in his hand and he will fight with Dhul Fiqar. Now of course, there's a marika that is to happen. Imam is not going to take over the entire world or universe, with just saying things. He'll have to literally fight for it. And there will be opposition that will stand in front of Imam. So it's not going to sit idly. There will be a war that will take place. That is for sure. We don't doubt in that. That is not a false belief. But how will Imam fight? So there's a belief that, when the time of period appearance comes, modern weapons will become obsolete. And they will fail to work. And Imam will overcome the enemy with the sword. Response is, the uprising with the sword does not mean the rejection of technology. When we say Imam will uprise with the sword of Dhul Fiqar in his hand, it's not negating the latest technology that is available. Just as in Islamic literature, the hand symbolizes what? Power. Yadullah fawqa aydihim. Allah's hand is on top of their hands. Allah does not have body parts. So hand refers to what? Power. For example, you say, so and so, the government is in their hands. Republicans, the government is in the hands of the Republicans, not literally in their hands. You talk about the power, right? They have the power. So hand is a symbolizes power. The pen symbolizes knowledge. So when the word pen appears, qalam appears, that midad al-ulama, it symbolizes the knowledge and the ulum. And throne, the arsh ilahi, as you hear, وَعَلَى الْأَرْشِ إِسْتَوَى, that Allah is situated on his arsh and his throne, is a symbol of power and is a symbol of divine authority of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The word sword can also be a symbol of power or jihad, in other words. When the Imam will overcome with the sword, meaning what? With fighting, with jihad, with power. So according to narrations, if knowledge consists of 27 parts, 25 of them will be realized at the time of the reappearance of Imam of our time. Meaning the world only has 2 out of 27 portions of knowledge in their possession. Meaning all the technological advancement that we have right now, it's only 2 out of 27, of what is possible. Let's just put it that way. And the remaining is with the Imam. So when Imam comes, just imagine if 2 out of 27 is such technological advancement, when Imam will use the remaining 25, just imagine the advancement that Imam will have. So therefore the interpretation that enemy's weapon will become useless may refer to the use of disruptive technology, electronic warfare, artificial intelligence, or even divine miracles that reduce or nullify the power of modern weapons. So it's not literally that Imam will fight with a sword in his hand, and Imam will not use the latest technology. That is the misconception that exists. Number two, this is more related to you and I. The companions of Imam Mahdi, Ajalallahu Ta'ala, only how many?
313.
There is something which everyone. Right here, right now in front of me is 100 people. Maybe on the ladies' side there are 50 people. In a majlis, usually when we have a majlis, we have 400 people. So, and then mashallah, Muslimin, as we said, 1.5 billion Muslims in the world. So does that mean 313 are the only companions of Imam Zamana?
Nothing from yours.
The 313 are Imam's special companions who play a leadership and a strategic role in the uprising and are regarded as the elite of the Mahdavi government. Which means what? You and I do not lose hope that we will not be amongst the companions of Imam Zamana. We will not be amongst the elite 313, like the cabinet members of a government. Those cabinet members, those are close deputies, those generals are 313. Of course, Imam needs an army. And inshallah, it will be pride for us that we become the part, and that's what the dua that we make. And Allah make us to be among the Ansar and
Inshallah.
What is this dua? Is it in vain? So that 313 refers to those elite. They are like the close companions of the Prophet at Badr and the chiefs, Nuqaba of Bani Israel, tasked with the initial organization, strategic management. Some narration mentioned the number of Imam's forces, 10,000 to 20,000 or 12,000 or even more, indicating that while the initial uprising begins with that 313 elite members, it is continued and expanded by a vast multitude of faithful believers and supporters like you and I, inshallah. Third belief that we have that the day of judgment will occur immediately after the reappearance of Imam. That is again a false understanding of Imam's reappearance. According to the verse 105 of Surah Anbiya, before the day of judgment there will be a period during which the righteous shall inherit the earth. And similarly, the ayah that I recited from Surah Nur 55, it says, لَيَسْتَخْلِفَنَّهُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ كَمَا اسْتَخْلَفَ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ وَلَا يُمَكِّنَنَّ لَهُمُ دِينَهُمُ الَّذِي ارْتَضَىٰ لَهُمْ. Deen will prevail, and of course, the period in which the righteous will inherit the earth. A time many commentators interpret as the era of Mahdavi government. After this period, the phase of Raja'at, there's a concept of Raja'at, or we saw Raja'at in Arabic, or Raja'at, where the ruju of many personalities amongst the Anbiya, Awliya, amongst the believers and disbelievers alike will do a Raja'at, the return of certain believers and oppressors as well will begin. Sixth Imam, Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, we, the Ahl-e-Bait, will return and govern after the rule of Qa'im, meaning Imam Zamana, after his rule. According to narration, the first to return will be Sayyid al-Shuhada, Imam Alayhi Imam Hussein, who will perform the ghusl and the ritual washing and lead the funeral prayer of Imam Mahdi. It is also reported that government of Imam Hussein will last for, some say, 600 years. So the concept that right after the Zahoor of Imam Zamana, Qiyamah will take place is a false believer. Rather, after Imam's Shahadat, ghusl of Imam will be done by Imam Hussein and his government until the Qiyamah will take place. And you've heard that hadith many times. That if, there was only one day left in Qiyamah, because Qiyamah is already written, Allah will make and prolong that day so long to make sure that He accommodates what has been written as far as the return of Imam Mahdi is concerned. False belief is the Mahdavi government is exclusive to the Shia. That only Shia are the part of the government of Imam Alayhi. According to narrations, after the liberation of Islamic lands, and Baytul Maqdis, inshallah ta'ala, Imam Alayhi will establish a peace treaty with the Western nations for a period of 7 years. Who will he use as his ally to go ahead and convince the Western nations, who are predominantly Christian nations? Who else is coming along with Imam? Hazrat Isa
Yes,
Hazrat Isa will be used, Prophet Jesus will be used, and will descend by God's command during this period. Many non-Muslims, even those who followed other religions prior to his reappearance, will come to believe in him. And therefore, Mahdi government is a universal government that transcends religious and the ethnic boundaries, bringing justice, security, and prosperity for all of humanity. So don't think that you are just, it is just only going to be the Shia Hukumat and only for the Shias of this world. No, rather it will be for all the Muslimin. In fact, it will be for the entire humanity, and that is the maqsad of this religion, to be prevalent all over the world, and the Khilafat be given to those Allah SWT mentions in this ayat number 55 of Zahoor. False belief. With the killing of Shaitan by Imam Mahdi, human free will be taken away, and people will no longer commit sin. No, that is not a righteous belief. The belief that after Shaitan is killed by Imam Mahdi, remember, Shaitan, when he was taken out of the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the ayat of Quran talks about it, that in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, from now on, you're expelled, and you're no longer expelled, and you're no longer allowed here. He said what? He said, give me respite until the day of judgment. Allah said, no, I won't give you respite until the day of judgment. I'll give you respite until waqtin ma'adoom. So the narration mentioned that waqtin ma'adoom is the appearance of Imam for time, and inshallah he will come and he will defeat Shaitan as well. But with the killing of Shaitan, humans will lose their free will and they'll no longer be able to, commit sins. Is a mistaken notion and contrary to the religious foundations. According to the verse, indeed the soul is ever inclined to evil. Surah Yusuf talks about it. The root of many sins lies in the carnal souls, the nafs of insan. We just go ahead and blame Shaitan for everything. And Shaitan made me do this, Shaitan made me do this. A lot of times it is our own internal desire, nafs ammara, which is making us do this. Therefore, eliminating the external Shaitan alone is not sufficient to eradicate the inclination towards sin. That's why in Ramadan, what happens? Shaitan is put away. He's in chains. That's not just fairy tale. We believe in it. That is the case. But do we still not commit, some of us, sins? Are we not still inclined to commit sins? Even in the month of Ramadan? That is right. True. We're not infallible. And when that is the case, what is the driving force behind it? Is it the Shaitan now? No, it's your own nafse ammara. There's more discussion in it. I'm running out of my time, so I'll stay focused that, with the killing of Shaitan, it is not the case that people will stop sinning and the society will become sinless. And then lastly, upon the reappearance of Imam Mahdi, he will behead all people or all evil or whatever, something down that line, or ulama. Even some say, well, first thing Imam Mahdi will do, he will chop the heads of ulama. Common thing that I'm sure a lot of you have heard. This belief is completely incorrect. According to authentic narrations, such as the well-known hadith, he will fill the earth with justice and equity as it has been filled with oppression and tyranny. You've heard this hadith many times. And reports of Kitab al-Ghaiba by Nomani, Imam will reappear to establish justice and guide humanity. He will only confront a group of stubborn oppressors who, even after the completion of proof, all of the ihtijaj that is given continue to persist in corruption and injustice. Therefore, there will be no mass execution of people. Rather, Imam will first extend the invitation and try to reform, and only those who are defiant enemies of justice will be punished. His purpose is to create the grounds for global peace and just government, and to liberate the oppressed from the yoke of tyranny. So, the concept that Imam will go ahead and behead everyone, and the ayat or the riwayat that says Imam will kill the ulama, that is something which is far-fetched. Guess what? Ulama does not only mean those who wear a turban on their head. And yes, while the sin of an alim is 70 times worse than the sin of a jahil. That is Muslim. I've recited these many times over here. 70 juhala will be forgiven before one alim is forgiven. Meaning what? The reason is because as an alim, you have knowledge and you still go ahead and commit that sin, you're not going to be forgiven. But a jahil commits that sin unknowingly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive that person. So therefore, with that concept in mind, we understand that many of us are ulama. Don't just exclusively limit this ulama to those who wear this garb and those who wear a turban on their head. Their heads will be beheaded when Imam comes. Yes, ulama su will be dealt by Imam salam, but all of us are ulama in this regard. And that's what this hadith is talking about. So today what we wanted to do was to call or dispel some of these misconceptions that we have regarding the reappearance of Imam for time. But nonetheless, this ayat number 55 of Surah Nur definitely highlights the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give the government and the power in the hands of his khulafa. And amongst those khulafa will be the Imam of our time, Imam Mahdi, Ajal Allah ta'ala.
Allah.